Hey there, I'm Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up for Sunday, June 14th, 2020. Tonight, I've been guided to talk about the topic of psychic intuition versus your brain. How do you tell the difference? What's the difference between your intuitive voice and your own mind, your brain talking to you? I believe everyone has psychic abilities. We're all intuitive. We all have pieces of the divine within us, our own inner voice, our own higher self. The intuition, I believe, is the voice of the higher self. It's not something to be afraid of. It's actually a higher, beautiful, loving, directive voice. And so when we're getting directed by our intuition, it will often come through with, wouldn't you love to, it'd be awesome if, it feels really good to, like, that's how the intuition kind of will guide us. Whereas our brain will go, you need to do this, you should do this, didn't you do this? I think you need to, like, it's a different whole vibe. The energy coming from your brain versus the energy coming from your intuition is totally different. And a lot of times people feel their intuition even from a different whole place in their body. If they're feeling like a gut feeling, they'll feel it in their stomach, or sometimes you might feel something in the back of your neck, like something like the hairs on the back of your neck go up. That's an intuitive signal. Sometimes people's third eye is activated. They feel like something's moving through the top of their head. Right. And so people who are telepathic can read other people's minds. Literally, they can hear their thoughts. People that are empathic, such as myself, can feel other people's feelings. And right now that's really hard because there's so many people really struggling and terrified of either getting sick or losing everything financially or, losing their lives. With the Black Lives Matter, are we really going to shift things in our society? Are we going to get to the place where we're all treated equally, truly? This is the paradigm that we're trying to get to right now. We're trying to shift this old school paradigm that's been built up for centuries. Not we're trying to, the stars are forcing us to. And so these old paradigms, the old structures that are no longer working have to crumble, have to fall down. So these towers of Babel are falling down everywhere and will continue to fall. The outer planets have been in Capricorn, where all this has been playing out. Saturn is about to go backwards into that. Jupiter is there. Pluto is there. Pluto is exactly square Eris right now today. When they started to square off, well, they've been close since 2019, but they locked into a square 2 weeks ago when the protests started, and then today they locked into an exact square. They're going to stay in this square, Eris and Pluto, for the rest of the year. So us locked into this. A square is like conflict. It's an obstacle. It's something that we need to overcome, a test, a lesson that we have to shift in order for things to move on. And so we're locked in this square of the things that we need to transform in our world, in our society, and personally in our own inner worlds. So it's showing up in lots of different places. So personally, you may feel really called to change up the structures of how you've been doing your diet, for example, or exercise routine, or what you've been drinking, eating, sleeping, all those kind of self-care habits. Fundamental structures of how we do our lives may be totally being upended right now. You may be starting things that you felt guided to do for a long time and haven't done. And now, finally, you're like being forced to do them. That's just an example of how that can show up. Also, intuition can show up in dreams. We can have these vivid dreams of showing us what's going to be happening, or what's happening right now, or helping us clarify something that's already happened. And so I think there's a lot of mistaken information about what psychic readings even are in the first place, because I see them as much more about getting clarity in the current moment of like what's going on in and around your life right now versus what's going to be happening. I really believe we co-create the future. Where there's definitely elements that are beyond our control, right? We're not causing our lungs to breathe or our hearts to pump. There's something mystically divine that even operates our whole being, and the whole operation of the world is mystic. And as a Buddhist, it's the mystic law. Myoho is this essence that permeates everything, permeates our lives, permeates the universe. We can all tap into that, right? So if you try to understand the times with your mind, you can also make yourself crazy right now, because nobody knows where we're going. It's not figured out. There's no precedent for the times we're living in and the times we're moving into, astrologically and otherwise. Like, there's some things that are similar, but we're in unprecedented times. Truly, there is no historical precedent for the times we're moving through, and it's not going to look like anything any of us have ever experienced when we're moving through this. And Pluto doesn't move into Aquarius until 2024. So these themes, really, in the next 4 years, we're going to see our systems crumble to the ground. Our banking systems, our university systems, our structures, our governments. Really, I see a total overhaul every which way in our society and all around the world. And then overhauls in our own personal lives. And people may really be shifting the relationships they're choosing to spend their time with, the work they're choosing to do. But the way through is listening to your own inner voice, your own intuition, to try to figure out a plan and make that work right now. No, you really have to just get the daily download. What today do I feel guided to do is what I suggest all my clients ask themselves every morning, throughout the day if you need to. What this moment do I feel guided to do? Not what do I need to do? What should I do? What do I have to do? What do people want me to do? But what do I feel guided to do? Another word for that is, what would I desire to do? What would I really love to do? What brings me joy when I do it? These are examples of how you follow the intuitive voice to your path. And you have to quiet the mind to get there, or at least shush it a little, turn the volume down. This is where meditation, breath work, chanting. Back when I first started practicing Buddhism, I was 21 years old. I couldn't have a quiet mind. My mind, I'm ADD anyway, a creative brain is always kind of moving around. And so for me, it was a lot easier to repeat a mantra, and because I could get behind that. Plus, my musician ear really loved the sound of the chanting and the vibrations throughout my body. And so, but this is the time to pull out spiritual tools of whatever kind and sort. Basic spiritual tool is a deep breath in and a deep exhale out. That's the most simple spiritual exercise to keep doing that. Keep grabbing a deep breath. Keep exhaling a deep breath. Like, that's basic. Breathing in the divine, breathing out toxic, breathing in peace, breathing out chaos, breathing in love, breathing out anger. Like, these are just examples of basic. Going into a tub, a shower where you can just let the water soothe you is a way to meditate. Going for a run, going for a walk, picking up instruments, doing a puzzle, doing any kind of artwork, journaling. These are all ways you can access your intuition. If you stay plugged in frenetically, though, to what's going on your phone or on your computer screen or on your tablet or pad, like, really, it's time to take a break from these modalities and plug in to what's going to bring you joy, what's bring you hope, what's going to bring you courage, what's going to make you feel loved today. You have to dig for it sometimes. If you try to look around you, you can get really freaked out. If you're empathic and you're feeling everybody's anger and everybody's chaos and fear and worry and despair, what good is that for you? Really, like, what good is that going to do for you? A lot of people struggling. Help somebody else out. Reach out to somebody else. The best way to get out of your own demise is to find someone else that's in a worse situation than you are and help them out in some way. Write a letter, pick up the phone, send a text, send an email, paint a picture, do some jewelry, do some artwork, cook some food for someone else. Like, do something for someone else. That's like the quickest fix. A lot of people I know are trapped inside their houses purposefully. I think it's wise actually to stay inside your house right now. I think things are going to get worse rather than better in terms of the whole COVID. That's my psychic take, that numbers going to just climb right back up and we're going to end up in a crisis. I've also been feeling some sort of devastation coming between now and somewhere in the next month or so. I don't know when or where. I don't usually get prophetic things in the future. So when I start getting it, I do take note. And I just keep getting the feeling that people are going to walk around saying, I can't believe this happened. Can't believe it. Like, that's what can't believe. It's unbelievable. So something that we've not experienced before is coming. It feels like there's natural disasters coming, and I don't know where. I don't get a sense of that. I just get the sense that whatever's happening is going to affect everybody on this globe regardless, but that it's going to be shocking and surprising. I don't know. I just feel like there's some incoming. We're in the middle of 3 eclipses. We had the first one last Friday. We have a solar eclipse a week from this Sunday. And then around the 4th or the 5th of July, we have our third and final eclipse. So eclipse times are vortex points, and they're like pivotal changes in human history happen when you have series of these eclipses in a row. So we're under unprecedented times. You need to really listen to your own inner voice. Do not override your own intuition. A lot of times we understand our intuition in hindsight, like when we go, oh, yeah, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Or, yeah, I got the hit to not do that, or to do something. And then, oh, man, I knew I should have done that. You know, we get in hindsight sometimes the heads up. That's why I got the hit not to do that. Or that's why I thought I should be doing that. And you're like, oh, if I'd only listened to myself. So just do that the first time, and then if you notice you've overridden yourself, then well, how did I do that? Like, what can I notice and pay attention to next time so that I pay attention when I get a psychic signal? Like, you can get someone's name coming across your radar, or you feel someone, you keep flashing back, and then they call you. You're like, I was just thinking about you. There's a multifaceted psychic realm, and there's lots of ways to tap into it. And we all have a way to tap into it. I work with people privately to figure out how you can tap in to your own inner voice and develop that. I think the most important work that I have is not doing readings for everybody one-on-one, but to help everybody get tuned into your own inner voice, get psyched up so that you can follow your own intuition and your own inner voice and let that guide you. I feel like I'm clear in the way that I do readings because I put my spiritual practice first, and that lays the foundation for how I do my work and live my life truthfully. What else do I have to say? It feels like there's channeled messages coming through for someone. I'm getting a T name, maybe a Ted or Teddy, Theodore even. Does feel like it's a Ted or a Thaddeus. Okay. So this is a message to a male energy with a T name, or a family ancestry that has that name in your ancestry. That there is, I see you struggling. It feels like you're in school, you're studying. There's some sort of books or something that you're not getting done or not getting something finished or accomplished, and there's a race, I've gotta finish kind of feeling. And I get the sense that it's okay to take yourself off the timer you've put yourself on and allow things to happen at a slower pace, a different pace, a more organic pace. These sort of artificial, the time paradigms that we've all put ourselves on. We have to work these 9-hour days, 10-hour days, and rush, and hurry. And this rat race pace that we've been under for my whole life. It's gotten worse in the last several decades, but that paradigm is also over. The pacing of our lives, we really can approach life from a slower pacing. And so you should be done by school by this age, or I should have done my work by that. Like, we can all really let ourselves off the hook and off the timers. Like, here I am just now starting this YouTube mission that I got guided about doing several years back. Had to overcome procrastination and worrying about what I was going to look like on a videotape, and realize that the message was most important, and that my guides just leaned on me and leaned on me and leaned on me until I started these messages. But I'm 57 years old. I've raised 6 children. I've put the last 3.5 years of my life into the homeschooling and the raising of my children, number one. Well, my spiritual practice, number one. And then my children, number two. And then work, my music and my psychic work has taken a back seat to that. And I haven't worried about, am I going to lose my work? I've always known that the time was going to come for my work to be the right time. Because when I started doing psychic readings in 1988, it wasn't cool to get a psychic reading. A whole lot of people were super critical. I was looked at like I had 3 heads. Even when I started practicing Buddhism 36 years ago, I kept it on the down low. I hardly ever talked about it to people because I'm in the Bible Belt in Texas, and I wasn't saying things about that. Now, it's cool to be a Buddhist. Everybody has Buddha sculptures and Buddha things up on their walls. And, it's cool to be tuned into psychic abilities and intuition. People are starting to listen to that kind of stuff. So it's finally the time for my work. And so I had all the time to pour my energy into raising 6 children for 3.5 decades. And now I have the time to do my work. I'm not worried about, I should have done it when I was in my 20s or 30s. Like, I don't care. It's time to do my work now. Now's the time. And so I would just invite those of you who are up against a timer as well, some kind of internal timer that you feel like I've got, like I should have already done this by now. I'm too old. I should have, could have, what? Like, that's all your brain talking. That's not your inner voice talking. It's your programmed brain. It's not the truth. Truly, you can manifest anything you believe you can do it at any time that you believe you can do it. So that's the key thing, believing in yourself and making sure that your self-talk and the things you say and your actions that you take are aligned with that vision. You can manifest whatever you want, whenever you want. You don't know what you want. Okay. You can also change, I don't know, into I'm becoming clear. You can set the affirmation to, I'm trusting my intuition to guide me on a daily basis, and I'm letting that unfold. Like, I'm on my journey. When you're on the right track, the universe shows you. You get confirmation back. You get the synchronicity. You get the green lights. You get the person that just said what you just were thinking. When you're off track, you have the fights. You have the struggles. You get the brick walls. You get the red lights. There's not a parking place. Oh my God, that meeting was yesterday and you missed it. That's what happens when you're out of rhythm. When you're in rhythm, when you're listening to your inner voice and you're letting that guide you, there's a pacing that's beautiful and organic, and it flows. And we can really slow it down, and we can really listen and let things unfold. Try to step away from your mind and your worries and your fears and just do an assessment today. Do I have the food I need to eat today? Do I have something over my head today? Do I have clothes on my body today? Like, do I have the basics that I need today? If you don't have the basics, you probably aren't listening to this videotape because you have to have some sort of technology to watch these basics in the first place, right? So if you're watching me, chances are you have your basics. The anxiety, the fear, the worry comes in. What about tomorrow? What about next week? What about next month, next year? It's not here yet. Don't worry and get yourself up and worked out about something that's not here yet. Right here today. And even if you're loaded up in grief or worry or fatigue or whatever's going down today, take a deep breath. Give yourself some love. Give yourself a break. Tell yourself you're doing the best you can do right now, and it's good enough. Because that's the truth. We're all struggling right now. We're all trying to find a new normal. And the best way to do that is just to access your own inner voice on a daily basis and say, okay, what today? Show me. And listen to that. The more you do that, the easier it gets. When you find yourself you've pulled off track, see if you can notice how you did that. How did you pull yourself off track? If you need a reading from me, happy to do that for you. You can contact me through my email, bringoutthebuddha@gmail.com. And that's all the words strung together. Bring out the Buddha, Buddha at gmail.com. That's my basic email. My website right now is down because we're revamping it, so that's exciting. So you probably can't get in touch with me through that, so I won't even advertise that right now. But I know that you can find the way to find your own inner voice and how that shows up for you, and to follow it and listen to it. And just with the intention to today listen to it and follow it and do just a baby step in that direction, that voice gets louder. It gets that much easier to follow, that much easier to do. And then you can be on the track, living your life based on your intuition, letting that guide your way. Because that is the new paradigm that we're all moving into. That's what I believe, is that we're all going to be wired in a way more spiritual way, and really listening to this interconnectedness of everyone. And what pulls us all together is this soul, like, right? What happens when we die? What do these skeletons look like? The same. I don't care if you're black or Hispanic or Japanese or Portuguese or gay or Republican or Democrat. You take the skin off, we all look the same. We all are the same. Our soul's energy are all the same. They come from source, right? We all have a fundamental darkness within. We all have a fundamental light within. And every day it's a battle to bring out the Buddha, to bring out your Christ self, to bring out your higher self, or you're going to let the fundamental darkness take over and take control and win. That's what's happening out in the world as I see it. It's a fight between lightness and dark. And that's all spiritual faiths and all spiritual traditions. And I'm not talking about, we all have demons within us. We all have the dark side. And when people let the worst of themselves out, we kill each other, we hurt each other, we harm each other. We say horrible things to each other. When we honor each other, when we can stop and listen and value each other and care about what the other person's going through, even if it's not the same as what we're going through, but we can honor them just in their experience and hear them out, that goes a long way for creating peace and moving us forward in this world. So, all right. I think that's all I had for today. Y'all get tuned into your own inner voice. That's Psyched Up.